Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how you can make this very cool timeline effect right inside of Canva. So essentially we're creating this timeline effect for Reels, but you can do it for anything like your website or even a listing presentation if you wanted to add it to that. It's a very cool effect. So this is what it's going to look like when you first start your design. Nice clean canvas, and then we're going to want to add our headshot. So I'm just going to grab this woman here that we're using as an example, and as you can see she has a purple background, and I didn't want a purple background. So what I did was I just headed up to the top toolbar here and click remove background. So now we have this beautiful blank canvas and we can create our own background. If we want it to have a subtle effect, what I like to do is create a gradient. So I'm going to select the color icon here, and then another one of my tips and tricks is to grab a color directly from the photo itself. This works for anything from listings to your brand photos, but when you grab a photo color, you have this cohesiveness that works really well. So obviously that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to head over to this tab here, gradient, and then from there we can change the secondary color, and now we have this beautiful gradient effect that works really well. So I'm going to increase the size of the headshot that we're using, and we want to give ourselves at least half of the canvas to work with, if not more, so that the focus is on our timeline and not our photo. Now once we've added our photo, we need to add our actual timeline. So what I'm going to do is head to elements and grab a line under shapes. I'm going to rotate that until it's 90 degrees. And then I'm going to pop it like just about here. And then I'm going to just drag this line all the way down. And if you're finding that it's moving out of place, it's not staying at that 90 degrees, then just hold the shift key and that will give you a really nice straight line. It won't move back and forth. Okay, and I don't want a black timeline, so I'm going to select this dark color that we're using here. And I would like some endpoints on this line, so I'm just going to head to the endpoints here and just add a line, and I'm going to change it to a darker version of this pink essentially. Now I'm going to add some circles to this timeline. And then I'm going to duplicate the circle. So what you can do is right click duplicate, or you can use this shortcode here to just make it faster. So on my computer, that's Command D to just duplicate quickly. So I'm going to space these out. And now if you notice that when I drag it down, Canva will tell me when it's evenly spaced by popping in those purple indicators there. So that's a really good way to tell if you're evenly spaced as you're going along. But now once I click duplicate, Canva will auto space the rest of them for me. And now we want to add our dates. So let's press T on our keyboard to bring up a text box. And let's pop in our first date. So let's just say 2007 is when her journey begins. And we're going to match the color here. And then we're just going to duplicate our box, Command D, or right click duplicate. And we're just going to keep duplicating all the way down. And then we're going to change the dates to whatever it is that we want. Okay, next what we want to do is we want to create the content box where all of the information is going to be. So what we're going to do is head over to the shape section, and I'm going to choose the rounded square. I like that one. And I'm just going to size it correctly like this. And then just to add some separation, I'm going to add a border to this, but a very subtle border, so maybe just 2 points thick. And then I'm going to head to the color and just add that border there. So now once we have this box, now I'm going to do this one slightly different because I want to show you a really easy way to do this. But you can see that in the original example, we had smaller boxes that framed the text like this. But I'm going to show you a simplified version of this one. There's a very simple way to do this, and that's just to create one long text box. Okay, so now we want these points here. We want to create these triangles here. So what we're going to do is, again, head to the shapes section. So we're going to select see all. We're going to select our triangle shape. We're going to size it down to the size that we want, rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, and essentially what we're doing here is we're adding all the elements we need right off the bat so that when we add the transitions between slides, it will look seamless rather than really wonky. So we want to add all of our triangles right now, and then I'm going to show you how to hide them and how this is all going to work. Okay, so we're going to place our triangles, and then again, duplicate. So Command D on my Mac, duplicate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to head to Position and Layers, and all of these triangles, let's make sure that they're all together first of all, just for simplicity. You know what? Let's move this guy up just to make it simpler. All of these triangles will be moved behind our rectangle shape, okay? Now, when we move them behind our rectangle, just right there, when we add the transitions, you'll see that they'll slide out perfectly. That's why we want to do this right off the hop. So again, let's head to Position. This is our very first slide. So we will add our first triangle, and we're just going to bring that out. And because we're talking about 2007, we want to draw attention to that. So I'm just going to make it slightly bigger, and this one's slightly bigger. And I really love, and I encourage you to let Canva help you with this. So you'll notice that when I move my text box around the canvas, all these purple guides show up, and they're telling you everything is lined up. So 2007 and 2009 is lined up. It's perfectly spaced because we see that there's 207 points between each. So let Canva guide you so that everything looks really clean and aligned. Now, in order to draw more attention to this, we're going to change the color of this first circle to our color here. And then we're going to add some text to the text box. So I'm just going to press T on my keyboard to bring up a text box. I'm going to add my first thing, 1. And this, I don't mind being in black because I want to draw some attention to it, or at least dark gray. Okay, and now let's bring up another text box, or we could just duplicate this one. Let's reduce that font size a little bit, and let's not make it bold, just to add some differentiation. And now I just copied some lorem ipsum text from my lorem ipsum website. It's a really cool website. It's called Hipster Ipsum. And if you don't want to write this much, if you feel like this is way too much information to write for Reels, then what you can do, a little cheat, is that you can just move this down slightly and then head to the Elements tab and type in the name of an icon that would match whatever it is you're talking about. So let's say in 2007 you got your license. We would just type in license and maybe the word icon after that so that we get icons. And we would take a peek and see if there's anything here that looks like a real estate license perhaps that you would have got. And then we're going to add that to the top just to add some visual intrigue to it. So we can go change the color for some cohesion. Okay, so now once we're very happy with this layout, we're happy with the colors, we're happy with everything, how it looks on our first slide. Very important because we're not going to touch it after this. It's going to mess everything up if you change even one thing down the line. So this is the moment where we say, do we love this the way it is? And if the answer is yes, we just click these 3 dots here on the timeline and duplicate that page. Before we duplicate, I missed one thing. Select the first circle, press Shift on your keyboard, and then select all the other circles. And then you can group them. It's going to pop up right here for you. Now on the second slide, we're going to make the adjustments to reflect 2009 at this point. So this circle needs to be brought back down to size, change the color. We are good. Now we need to do the same thing for this guy. We're going to increase it in size, change the color. Here we go. I know I'm perfectly spaced now. I can release. I'm good to go. 2009, I'm going to bring that up. And I remember that we increased it to 25.5. And now we need to change the arrows. So this arrow is going to be pushed back in. And then we head to Position. And we scroll down to the arrow section. And we're going to find the second arrow. And we're going to push that out. So now we can hover between the 2 slides at the bottom timeline here. Click on that transition button and select match and move. I like it to be around 1 second for the match and move. And if we did our job right, when we hover over the transition and we see it at work, perfect. So now we can go ahead and change this to thing 2, whatever it is that you want to highlight. And then you can change the icon as well. So let's just say kids. Okay, so you had some kids. Let's put that in there. One thing that I will mention about adding icons is you should keep the appearance of them the same. So if you're going to use this trick by adding icons, if your first icon is an outline, meaning it's not filled in, so do you see the difference between using something like this as an icon and then using an outline icon? We always want everything to feel cohesive. So I would suggest not using different types of icons. You keep the look the same between the icons. So this is an outlined icon. This is an outlined icon. I'm good to go. And I'm just going to size it. Before I delete my first icon here, I'm going to size it and make sure that it fits within the same space so that there's no wonkiness there. I'm going to fill it out to the same space. Sometimes you might have to cheat a little bit just to have it look like it's occupying the same space. And we're good to go. So that's thing 2. And now we just have to duplicate this again, rinse, repeat the entire process for every single slide. But before I do, I just want to show you a little hack. So let's duplicate this page just so that you can do this faster. So what I like to do is copy style. I use this a lot when I'm doing repetitive tasks like this. And what copy style does is it will copy whatever you applied to that particular element, and you can then apply it to another element. So for example, I'm going to copy the style. And when I click on the 2011 box, it will automatically size it to what the 2009 was. Then I can go to 2007, copy that style, and apply it to the 2009 box, and it will just automatically size things so that I don't have to worry about. And then I might just have to rearrange it a little bit. And again, I'm going to allow Canva to help me, to guide me to do that. I'm going to do the same thing with the circle, copy style and copy. The only thing that it's not going to copy over is the size of the circle. So I'm just going to increase that myself. And we're good to go. And then copy style and then shrink that down. And my last tip to make this super easy is, remember when I said let Canva help you? Let Canva help you size these circles as well. When I'm stretching the circle out or reducing the size of the circle, I'm looking for that dotted line that tells me that I'm matching the side of the circle, and I'm going to stretch this side out, and I'm going to wait for that dotted line to appear to show me if I'm aligned, and that means that my circle is the same size as the one beneath it, and then I'm good to go. Okay, now I'm going to speed things up, and you're going to see the final result when we're done. Okay, let's take a look at our handiwork and see if this turned out the way we wanted it to. Looks pretty good so far. Looking good. And there you go, my friends. So now if you want to add this optional cover page, you absolutely can. It's the same process as we have just been doing, but let me walk you through it really quickly. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to add a brand new fresh page. And this is just the same fake realtor that I'm using, except it's a different shot. So if you have lifestyle shots like this, could be a really great, engaging way to do it. Otherwise, you can use the exact same headshot. No big deal. So I'm going to remove the background again because we want it to be pink, not purple. And then you're just going to size it into your frame however you see fit. And then just for ease, I'm just going to copy the Hi, I'm Jill over. And I liked that there was a darker tone because it's more interesting that way. Okay, and now I would love for her to be on top of that text. So I'm just going to right click, layer, bring to front, and then there's the short code there for your computer, or just bring forward, which is just command and then that icon there, which I never know the name of. And then you can add a little bit like we did here. We added a little bit of 3-word who am I. So in order to achieve this, all we're going to do is head to the Elements tab. We're going to select a rounded square shape. We're going to change the color of this element, and we're going to add a border. Okay, so now we have, hey, I'm Jill, to humanize you a little bit. To adjust the timing of this slide, I would adjust it to something pretty darn short because it doesn't take long for people to read that. So I would do about 3 seconds. So in order to adjust the timing, you're just going to click on the bottom here where the timing is. it'll open up the timing, and then you can adjust the time of each of these slides. And that is it, my friends. That is how you create this beautiful animated timeline effect inside of Canva. I hope that this was fun. I hope you learned something, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with. If you have any questions, post them as well, and happy designing. I will speak to you soon.